Let me ask you something. What's better than coming home from school or work on a chilly Friday night, grabbing the blankets to keep yourself warm, hitting the lights to black out the room, and resting your eyes on the screen in front of you as you press play on the game that's going to make you feel real fear and ecstatic badassery all at one time? I'd wager there are very few moments like that. But this game, for me, was one of them.
I'm Max.
Let me take you back to 2006. What a bloody year. Steve Irwin dies. Saddam Hussein is executed. North Korea threatens nuclear testing. Google buys out YouTube. And EA had begun on a downward spiral towards greed. They were still doing well, financially. Reputationally, however, well, you know how EA is. Same games, different names. 2006 FIFA World Cup, FIFA 07, FIFA Manager 07, FIFA Online 2, FIFA Street 2. On and on it goes. From my research, not many were brave enough to call out a publisher for shady business practices as they are now. With the absence of the modernized YouTube, Reddit, and Twitter that's usually brimming with cynical, critical commentary culture today, it's hard to find anyone's negative public opinion on them. There is still, however, countless message boards, forums, blogs, and a handful of bold news articles that were still willing to stand up to EA's wicked ways.
So I guess what I'm just saying is that, EA, sucks my balls.
They were far and few in comparison to this day and age. But nevertheless, customers were getting bored, even outraged at the same old thing. And EA could finally feel it. They needed variety. They needed a good game. Originally rumored to be the sequel to System Shock 2, there was a game being developed by a studio that no longer exists. It would meet unanimous critical acclaim. 8, 9, even 10 out of 10 stars across the board. And according to some, it would become the game that revived the horror genre at the beginning of the new millennia, spawning the reputation that it is to video games what Alien was to movies. The name? Dead Space. It was released just before Halloween of 2008, 10 years ago, right on time. And this is what it did.
I was about to be a freshman in high school. My buddy had just found out about Dead Space 2 releasing, and he told me if I've ever played those games, and I said no. He said, oh, you need to play the first one before you play the second one. And I told him what it was about. He told me it was a scary game in space. And I said, cool, let's get it. And so there we go.
What are the ingredients to a masterpiece? Third person, horror, shooter, survival. These alone aren't much to write home about. But together, with the right hands molding them, it could turn out to be worth a bit of your time. A campaign that's 12 hours, which promises to be one of the most horrifying you'll ever live through. In gaming, at the very least. To quote the Dead Space executive producer Glenn Schofield, we wanted to create the most terrifying game we could, and keep the player on the edge of his seat the entire time. A simple goal, but all of us here aren't interested in good intentions or enraptured claims. We've heard the same story for No Man's Sky, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Mass Effect Andromeda, all space operas, all failures. and the last two were both published by the exact same conglomerate, Electronic Arts. Granted, Dead Space was released many years before these titles, but the stigma was all the same. We want results in the final product that we're purchasing, and at a fairly substantial sum no less. So could they deliver?
I felt scared as crap because it was like a pale, bloody, hodgepodge of bones and stuff coming at you. And, it was just scary. It was first. It was weird. It made me uncomfortable.
There will be spoilers beyond this point. The story might not be perfect, but it's good. Very good. Your name is Isaac Clarke. You're an engineer with the rescue team that's been requisitioned to the USG Ishimura, a giant planet-cracking mining vessel that went dark in deep space some time ago. A nebulous proposition that doesn't inspire much optimism, especially knowing that your girlfriend, Nicole, was on board. Not only that, she was hesitant to take up a career aboard the Ishimura. That is until someone encouraged her to take the position. You convinced her that she'd have a bright future voyaging as a senior medical officer of the ship. If you can imagine that for a second, the love of your life, a young, sweet, innocent girl, could possibly be trapped inside an immense planet cracker, absent of any communication, and you're the singular facet responsible for her being there. A haunting spectacle, without question. But one that can get a lot worse. You and your crew have been dispatched as an emergency maintenance team on the USG Kellyan, responding to the distress call that Ishimura began broadcasting. It doesn't take long before you and your team soon realize something isn't right. In fact, there are many things gravely wrong. The ship failed to answer your crew's signal to dock. When trying to enter the hangar manually, your ship is struck by planetary debris, compelling a crash landing upon the flight deck of the Ishimura. Thankfully, no one was killed. Yet. But the spacecraft is damaged, and it appears your only way out is through. Where is everyone? Perhaps evacuated, off the ship? Maybe they're answering an urgent matter that requires all hands on deck? It's even possible they're all just celebrating the captain's birthday in the cockpit. Unlikely, but plausible, I suppose. Any hopeful apprehensions, however, are instantly smothered at the sight of some violently flailing and horrifyingly deformed entity bursting out from within the vents when it starts ripping apart your crew. One, shoot everything that move. 2, shoot everything that don't move. 3, shoot everything that may move. The game is far more beautiful than it has any right to be. While the textures may be outdated, the lighting, scenery, presentation, and gorgeous panorama rival that of most video games and even cinema to date. The game is structured with absolute splendor, contrary to the horrific nature of the environment, with stunning set piece one after the other, where right around the corner is a potential masterpiece of level design for your eyes to engorge and admire. It's a wonder how the graphics alone didn't earn the series superior recognition. I still vividly remember some of those masterfully crafted spectacles. Like when you're flying through space, and there's this breathtaking use of lighting and cinematography, if that's what you can call it. I'm entirely engaged in the world they built. I'm currently not Max on planet Earth for the time being. I am Isaac Clarke, in one of the many fissures of the cosmos. Immersion plays one of, if not the biggest role in Dead Space's many advantages over other titles, as it manages to take you away from the world you've been comfortable living within, into a fresh, brand new, terrifying space.
I really hyped for that game. I would love to see Dead Space 4, but in the vision that they intended to create. The second and the third one, because a lot of stuff was cut out from those two games because of EA.
I remember the first time playing Dead Space 1 and being blown away by the atmosphere and aesthetic of the game. I found it very interesting that there was no HUD at all or everything like that. It was all in-game. You wanted to know how much ammo you had? The gun told you. You want to know how much health you had? Look on your back. The little details in the game along with the environment and how well the lighting holds up to this day shocks me. Dead Space reminded me a lot of Resident Evil 4, but in a good way. Dead Space holds a very special place in my heart for horror games, and it's a shame we will probably never see Dead Space 4. There's blood on your hands, but it's okay. It's just Nicole's blood. I meant to say necromorph blood. Yeah, that's right. I think. I don't know. Contrary to the graphic and supposedly desensitizing nature these games showcase, specifically the senseless blood, gore, screaming, and famously butcherly death scenes, a closer examination indicates there's a stronger significance than meets the eye, traversing fairly deeply into mental disorder, including PTSD, schizophrenia, and insanity throughout the franchise. Although many may accurately point out that the story convolutes itself into a complex mess later on in the series, one thing that stays consistent are profound themes of psychology, failure, and trauma on the mind of not just our main character, but to possibly us as well, the player. Perhaps I'm observing too intensely into elements that may not even be present, but perhaps not. Especially not for me.
The game taught me a lot of things when I was that young. I could relate to Clark. He just had to keep moving forward, and at the point I am right now, that's all I'm doing in my life. Just move forward despite all the bad things and obstacles that get in your way. And whenever I would see, the gore and the mutilated bodies in the game, I didn't feel disgusted and I didn't feel bad for what happened to them. I just had to keep moving forward because I didn't want to end up being like them.
Are you happy about that?
Yeah, because I live.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I wish I could just talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. It's strange. Such a little thing. In the end, it all comes down to this one little thing. I didn't want it to end like this. I really wanted to see you again. Just once. I loved you. I always loved you.
First finished the game, and Isaac finally takes off his helmet. And what I saw made my heart ache. because what I was looking at felt a lot like a reflection of myself. A quiet, lonely, broken man who survived an almost literal hell just to save someone he cared for, only for him to realize it was all for nothing. Nicole killed herself. That was me, a while back. Have any of you ever had an experience like that? Where in video games, and even music, movies, and books, you embrace an overflowing ocean of feelings more than you normally would. Because you are going through something so surrealistically similar to what's happening on the screen in front of you. Almost like you're looking in a mirror. It's special moments like these that fill your soul with supremely potent emotion and make you remember, I'm alive. Beautiful. That's just beautiful. Where we have the ability to give each other an experience to show one another, you're not alone. We're right here beside you. Your main character is right here beside you. That no matter what you're playing, watching, reading, or listening to, you're gonna have the chance to see something that might just make this life a little better, even for a moment. Where there may be hundreds, thousands, or even millions who enjoy a certain piece of art, there will always be a select number of us who are going to get something extraordinary from it. And in this case, Dead Space gave me bravery. Yeah. I may never be fearless, but where there is fear in my way, there is now a tiny Isaac Clarke in my heart telling me to face it. As there is for all of you out there who got the same thing. I'm sure this was never the original intent of the developers, but whether they knew it or not, they created a game that surrounded us with utter anxiety, dread, and failure, only for us to overcome it and discover that there is nothing to fear. At least that's what I obtained from it. Without a doubt, video games possess such powerful gravity within, and are perhaps one of the most impactful pieces of media we have, as it is the one that most closely resembles our human experience through interaction. And when you create a game such as this, where your interactions are so visceral, it's unreasonable to assume this will not affect you in one way or another. And while there will always be a number of those misinformed that believe video games are the source of all evil, I can at least tell you that when I was at a low point, a plasma cutter, dismembering aliens, and a heart-wrenching drive to save just one life was exactly what I needed at that time. As I hope it was for all of you who played it, and as I hope it will be for all of you who will soon play it. I love Dead Space. I truly hope to see Isaac Clarke again. And even if we never get another game, that's okay. Because I still see him when I look in the mirror. There's nothing to be afraid of. Thank you, Visceral Games. Thank you, everyone.
Sulfit, you're a little bit of a little bitch. Vince, pinch, my ballsack. I wanna have sex with Alex, Forex, certain toasty. You're mostly handsome like Maybelline Manson dancing with blue. Look at you. You make me horny, DC Corey. Never break up Nathan Jacobs, Matthew Razor, the dictator. Thank you all.
Toodles.